Hello and welcome to episode number 50 on the Online Trainers Podcast. Today's topic is lower your expectations and improve your results. Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Lynn, what does this podcast topic mean and why would you even tell me to lower your expectations? And that is a really good question, because for a long time, when I was running my business and my expectations were, we see things on Facebook and we hear about all the success stories. We like to compare ourselves against other people. We see people inside forums and groups making a ton of money. And, especially if you're following people on social media, you get to see really the highlight reel of their life. And for a long time, this was me. This was me sitting at home. This was me inside hotel rooms, inside Bali when I was running my business. And this was me when I was just trying to get started and I was frustrated why I didn't have my shit together. And yet some other guy who I didn't think was a good trainer was making a ton of money online. And when you start to realize that people are showing you their highlight reel on Facebook, and the only thing that you get to see on Facebook is really when they succeed, because nobody likes to talk about their failure. Nobody likes to talk about the hardship. Everybody likes to put out how well they're doing or what they're doing, because to be honest, that's them showing or them trying to gain their own significance in doing that. Okay. And if you understand this, I think this will completely change how you run your business. And if you really knew the truth, and if you really knew how many people are starting an online personal training business, are starting an online coaching business and haven't succeeded, then you'll start to appreciate how well you're really doing. Because I can tell you right now, if you're listening to this podcast episode and you've been listening to this podcast show with me for 50 episodes, which I'm super pumped about, and I'm super grateful to have you listen and learn and really share it, then you are in the top 5% of personal trainers and coaches, which means your Facebook ads, your strategies, your challenges, your core program, your flagship program, you've got this knowledge, these tools and bases that a lot of people around the world don't have. Okay, which means that your marketing's going to be better than 95% of trainers. Your ads, your program, the way you can leverage your time. Because most personal trainers at the moment, what they're doing is they're trying to take their offline business and they're trying to bring it into an online business. It's completely different. It's like you driving a car and you wanting to fly a plane. It's a completely different business model, and you have to be smarter because there's a lot more competition up in the sky than there is down below. Okay. And that's what I want you to realize, because you're competing not only in your offline business, you're competing against 10 personal trainers or 10 people around you. I mean, that's easy. You can be the top, you can be first out of 10 people. But in the online space, unless and if you don't find your niche, if you don't take the island, if you don't mark your territory, you're going to be competing against millions of other trainers. And today's podcast episode really comes in time because there was a time when I felt demotivated. I felt flat. I was comparing myself all the time and what my expectations should be because of what I perceived others were doing. Okay. And that perception of what others were doing highlighted and set the benchmark for how I should be doing. But in all honesty, right? Number one, as we know on Facebook, things can be full of shit. That's the truth. The second thing is, okay, well, maybe they've just been able to make a bit of money then and they don't have a business model that is making money over a year, 2 years, 3 years. Okay. They're probably making money now, but, have a look at their retention rate or have a look at how much they've grinded and hustled and what kind of life do these people have? You have to understand and take into account these factors before you start to judge yourself and be so hard on yourself and put yourself down. Because here's the truth, and I see this because I work with some of the top smartest people, being involved in Tony's Platinum program, gives me the insights. And that's what I love, because being a part of that program isn't about the money. It's about going, okay, well, cool. If we know how to make money, and we do, right? I've always, told you to solve problems. I said, go out, find a problem that people are having and that people will pay for, create a flagship program, sell it to them, okay, market and sell that, and repeat, rinse and repeat, and do that. And don't deviate until you finish that. And so when you understand this and when you're able to understand that you need to take whatever's inside your brain and put it inside a leverage system, you need to be able to take out that memory chip inside of your brain and put it inside your client's brain. And if you could print out 1,000 of those memory chips and people just pay you $1,000 or $500 for it, all you need to find a way is, well, how many people can I get in front of? It becomes as simple as that. And the truth is, I joined the Platinum program and I joined Russell Brunson's Inner Circle because I figured out that these people I really wanted to model not only wanted to learn how to become financially wealthy and successful, but that's one part because I see so many people, in the space making money but being so depressed, letting their health go, being fat. That's a big sign. Being depressed, not really enjoying life, or their relationships have gone stale, or they don't have any friends and they're not enjoying life. And, and I really want you to understand that regardless of what you see on Facebook, you always have to question the status quo. You always have to question, okay, well, what kind of life is that person living? And do I want to live his life just because he's making a bit of money, just because he got 10 new clients? Because that's the urge. The urge is that you want to go out and you want to replicate what he's done because you think that will solve your problems. But the truth is, number one, you're seeing the highlight reel. Okay, which is why I want you to change your expectations today, because this can cause self-destruction. You not being where you want to be puts you in a more harsh space, right? It makes you want to do more. And when I was in this mode of constantly doing, I couldn't think strategically. I didn't have self-awareness for my relationship, for my businesses. I couldn't be strategic. I couldn't offer my clients better results. All I was scared about was how do I get these results fast? Because, man, I'm sinking or swimming right now and this guy's done well. And you know what? Being in this space, it made me drastically pivot my business model. And so I was like, well, I would tell myself stories like, wow, maybe my niche isn't profitable. Maybe I should do what he's doing, jump over and see if the grass is greener on the other side. I bet you the grass is greener on the other side. And so I came up with a lot of stories only because my expectations were met by the highlight reel of people on social media. Okay. And that's where stuff can go wrong. And why I want to put this message out to you today is really to let you know that, hey, you're in the top 5% and you keep pushing, the riches will come. But what you need to do at first, when you're first starting out, what I want you to understand is that it's like pushing a boulder up the hill, right? Nobody knows if you're created a product or a service, or, you're selling your one-to-one coaching, or you've got your flagship program and you feel like you're pushing it up a boulder. Okay, but what I'm telling you is if you're great and you can take the island and you can deliver results, that's the most important thing. Once that boulder gets pushed up to the very top and you deliver results and you build a tribe of raving fans and you've got your community of, whether it's mums, whether it's dads, whether it's vegan bodybuilders, whatever it is, whether you've got your mums and dads, there will come a time where you'll get so many referrals because you're doing such a great job. You'll build such a great community. Okay, that the boulder is going to roll downhill. And so you're not going to have to use direct response marketing, Facebook ads as much, right? Because you have replicated this tribal system that works for you. And whilst I'm sitting here in my hotel room in Boise after day one of the mastermind, I really want to reflect back because a lot of the times we have a look around and we compare ourselves to others, right? Because all we get to see are their highlight reels. And the truth be told, today I was able to share my experience of how I got here and how it wasn't all rainbows and sunshines. And, regardless of the experience, if I tell you how to do it, you need to go and experience it for yourself because you know what? Right at this moment in time, your expectations are probably, well, I'm going to follow people's advice and I'm going to make $1 million and my life's going to be awesome. And the truth is that's not how it pans out and you need to experience it for yourself. But in experiencing it for yourself, you need to give yourself some time, okay? You need to give yourself some time and you need to realize what are your realistic expectations and what are you comparing yourself? How did you come up with these expectations? Because at the end of the day, if you set massive expectations based on someone else's story, which 99% is probably false, and I don't say that to be negative, but I say it to be truthful. How many people do you know on Facebook that put up the best highlight reels and want significance and say how much money they're making, how much body fat they're at, but you never get to see the other side. You never get to see the amount of family dinners they miss or the hustle or the relationships they break. Okay. And what I want to propose to you today is that you need to lower your expectations so that you can succeed in the long term. Because here's the truth, right? You underestimate what you can do in a decade or 5 years or a year, but you overestimate what you can do in a week. And so we, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, feel as though we can do everything in the week and we expect the world in the week. And yet over the course of the year, most people don't move forward because they keep falling out from their expectations over the week, because you get angry, you get upset, you get pissed off that you didn't succeed in that week because your expectations were so high and you didn't hit that goal. And so you stop because you think maybe it's not for you and you do that again. And so in the course of a year, if you constantly keep doing and failing, you'll never move forward. So this is the one big key takeaway I want to be able to share with you, especially here in Boise and just after reflection, just after talking about my business, looking at where I've transitioned, is that sometimes you don't actually give yourself enough, you don't pat yourself on the back, you don't celebrate, you don't think you're good. Because you're in your head and what you're constantly doing is you're comparing yourself to the highlight reels of other people. And yet today, the one thing I want you to do is really have a look back and reflect. Reflect on your life, reflect on your business, reflect how far you've come, reflect how far the business has changed since you've started listening to this podcast. Reflect who has come into your life and really just be grateful, but also give yourself the thumbs up because you have this information. You could be on the other side of the coin where you can be completely oblivious to all this stuff. And I really want to reflect because, you might look at me and go, well, then you've got a great opportunity. And yet my expectations, because I'm looking up to other people, I'm like, well, no, I don't. But what you need to do is go, okay, well, how far have you moved forward in the last 30 days? In terms of your personal growth, in terms of your business growth, in terms of your understanding of marketing, sales, fulfillment, coaching, psychology. And I bet if you've been listening to this podcast show in the last 50 days, you've found a nugget or two, or you've implemented a nugget. You've changed the way you've looked at your business. And that, you know what? That has a massive, profound compounding effect over time. And sometimes when we're working in the business, we don't celebrate enough. We don't give ourselves enough credit for the work that we've done. And really, I want you to take a seat back because in the last 30 days, where have I come? What have I learned? What have I done? Do I feel like I can move my business forward quicker, knowing this information? And if so, be awesome for that, right? And I'm not saying to set your expectations lower so that you can move slower. No, always aim high. But it's coming with this level of awareness that everyone's giving you the highlight reel. And if you base your expectations on their highlights, you'll never win because you can never beat perfection versus your reality. Okay? And so I want to put this out only because if you've been listening to this, I'm all about the hustle. I'm all about the strategy. I'm all about going all in and being the best coach and getting clients results. Then once you can get them results, take that information, leverage your time, and then build a business out of that. You might start out with an online course, an online flagship program, move up into a workshop setting, move up into some sort of a retreat, move up into a one-day gym session where you meet up with every single one of your clients and they fly around the world. If you've impacted that many lives and if you're that good and you keep going all in. But this good life can only happen if you focus and you decide to believe in yourself and you don't dabble anymore. Okay? So what I've gotten to realize over the last 2 days of being here is that there's a common trait between high-level successful entrepreneurs and the ones that never make it. And the high-level successful entrepreneurs really decide that they're going to go all in and they back themselves. Like they knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. And they got to that point where they were sick and tired of dabbling. And I'm telling you this right now because it's been a profound shift in my own life. That for so many years I was dabbling across a multiple different amount of industries, figuring out that quick fix, comparing myself to going, well, there's an opportunity there and I'm smarter than that guy. So of course I'll be able to make money, right? There's an opportunity there and I'm smarter than that guy. So by doing so, you dabble. What I want you to realize is if you found something that you're 60, 70% passionate about and you like doing and you want to study and you want to become the master, then I urge you to step up and go, I'm deciding to go all in. And I think this is the most impactful, powerful podcast that you're going to listen to today, only because in realizing this in myself, I can then share it with you and hopefully that impacts you, because if it does, then I'm doing my job. If it makes you open up and wake up from what you're doing, the self-destruction you're causing yourself by trying to compare yourself and trying to set your expectations based on somebody else's perfection, then you're going to lose. Okay. But it's just having that level of self-awareness around to be able to identify that. So what I want you to do is really sit down, really reflect today on how far you've come last 30 days. This is your task. Okay. And say, honestly, can you honestly tell yourself that you've grown personal development wise, business wise, strategy wise? You kind of understand how you can generate leads and create sales even if nobody's ever heard of you. Because if you can, you're in a lot better space than where you were last year, this time last year. And if that's the case, you should celebrate that. Give yourself credit, because there are a lot of personal trainers still running around like headless chooks, not knowing when the next paycheck's going to come, not knowing how they're going to get clients. And there's a lot of personal trainers leaving the industry and coaches leaving the industry because they don't have the knowledge you have. And that's what I want to put forth to you today. And if you really appreciate this episode, please let me know inside the Online Trainers Club. I would love to just hear that these podcast episodes are helping you. They're opening up your eyes, because as much as you're going through that journey, I'm still going through that journey. And whatever I learn, I want to be able to share that with you, because the best way to learn, as I've talked about, is to share. Okay, so whatever you learn, I urge you to step up, become that leader, and share it with your audience as well. I want you to have a fantastic day, and I want you to reflect, and I want you to share this podcast with a trainer, a friend, a coach, okay, and share the love. I will see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. All right. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and feel free to leave a review. In that way, I can respond and I can take that on board in developing content to serve you. Now, if you're not a part of the Online Trainers Club on Facebook, please do yourself a favor and be a part of the conversation. That's where I add daily tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can build out funnels, how you can get more clients, and ultimately become a better online coach. Thank you for listening.